All right, now to add more perspective on the events that are presently unfolding at the G7 summit in Biarritz in France, we are joined by Arun Singh, who's a former ambassador to the United States. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for joining us on this broadcast on WION. And let me begin by asking you this. Now, there are a whole set of bilateral meetings that are expected to take place, and one of the crucial ones that will take place will be between India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump. Now, one of the reasons as to why this has acquired a lot of significance is because of what Trump has been saying. He's said it not once, not twice, but thrice, that he would like to mediate on the Kashmir issue. Why do you think Donald Trump has in fact been talking about wanting to mediate on Kashmir?
Our Prime Minister and President Trump is clearly important, not only because of the value the two countries bring on the global stage and the US continuing to be the leading power on the world stage, but the fact that President Trump wants to meet our Prime Minister so soon after their meeting in Osaka is indicative that he wants to send some message coming out of this meeting. Because normally I have found that the US presidents select at each gathering with great deal of care what are the bilateral meetings they're going to hold, and therefore what kind of message they want to send out of that. Now, of course, one can argue that this is a very limited 7 members of the G7, there is the EU and 5 or 6 other countries, and then of course there should be an opportunity for meeting. But I think he's agreed to this meeting deliberately to signal that he continues to be involved in some way on India-Pakistan issues. And as you mentioned, already 3 times he's indicated that he's ready to mediate. Later he toned it down, at least from the side.
As a diplomat, you would have followed this very carefully. I just want to get some insights as to how these things work on the international stage. The first time that Donald Trump spoke, he said that Prime Minister Modi, when he met me at Osaka, requested me to mediate on the Jammu and Kashmir issue, for which India immediately rebuffed. S. Jaishankar, in fact, on the floor of the parliament, said that no such offer has been made for America to come and mediate on the issue of Jammu and Kashmir, which strictly remains bilateral. And then Trump toned it down. He said that India and Pakistan are 2 great nations. If they want me to mediate, I'll be willing to mediate. You know, how would a US president actually say something like this? Firstly, stating that, you know, Prime Minister Modi requested me to mediate, and then toning it down and saying that I would be willing to mediate if they want me to mediate. What goes on behind the scenes? Is this something that would be said off the cuff, or do you think that there would be certain interactions that would have taken place, you know, not at the summit level, but at the lower levels?
So when I heard on television Donald Trump saying that he had been asked by the Indian Prime Minister to mediate on Kashmir, similar agreement has been that there is no scope for any third-party role on India-Pakistan issue. State and government of a leading power in the world. But President Trump is Trump. I have pointed out that there are several thousand lies that he has articulated to it. But he was trying to achieve 2 purposes. One, he was meeting Imran in the context of Afghanistan. They want to get some dialogue going with the Taliban to give that in the context of his re-election next year in 2020. And for that, the support of Pakistan, they see, is vital. So they want to give some sop to Pakistan. Beyond that, President Trump has tried to generate some role for himself in different issues to show that he's doing what other US presidents have not been able to do. And therefore, he's done things differently on Iran. He's tried to reach out to the North Korean president and get some dialogue going, which has not led anywhere. But President Trump has tried to show he's different, and that through his dialogue with the North Korean president, North Korea is not testing the long-range missiles, even though he's doing short-range. And you saw that in his meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister. President Trump said that the North Korean president has not violated any agreement.
Absolutely.
But the Japanese Prime Minister against the UN Security Council resolutions. So I think it is because of these two reasons that President Trump wants to project as if he's playing some active role on India.
One other issue that I would want you to, in fact, weigh in upon is that, this is a G7 summit that is taking place at the backdrop of what is being described as one of the biggest ecological disasters. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be addressing a gathering on climate change, and Macron had said that this is an issue that will be discussed. Do you think Prime Minister Narendra Modi would in fact say something about the Amazon rainforest fires, which is not an issue that's limited just to Brazil, but has an impact worldwide?
There will be a lot of focus on climate change issues because France had hosted the 2015 meeting on climate, and after that France believes that it has some role to play on advocacy on this issue. India has also been showing that on climate change related issues it is forward leaning and is taking measures while keeping in mind its national interests. So keeping in view of all that, I'm sure Amazon is bound to come up. And of course, while recognizing the impact of Amazon on global climate, and therefore there is relevance for everyone. So some balance will have to be worked out.
Absolutely, indeed. On this broadcast and WION and weighing in on many of these issues that will be played out. So India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump will be holding a bilateral meeting at 3 p.m. It'll be very interesting to see as to what actually comes up as a course of that meeting. We'll be bringing you the latest developments as they unfold.